Now that you are a fashion designer, what's so exciting about the job?
I think it's one of those job where every season is different. So it keeps your head going, it keeps your mind going because every season you have to come up with something new. And I think that I thrive on always looking for something new, and that's why I think it makes perfect sense for me to be a fashion designer.
What is fashion to you?
Fashion is it's an expression of self, but it's also an expression of self in the context of culture. Everyone has so many different definitions of fashion, but ultimately what links them is that we are expressing our individuality to others in a cultural context. So I think that's how you take it and how you interpret it is up to you. But you can be extreme or you cannot be extreme. I think it's just an expression of personality.
How did Michelle Obama get to wear your dress? Or is the other way around? How did you get to dress Michelle Obama?
Michelle Obama discovered the brand Cocoon through a store in Chicago that I was carried in, basically. And so she had been shopping there and she discovered the brand and she was really interested in the colors and the cut and the fabric and the prints. And from there was when we started to do more specialty things for her.
So that's how it got started?
That's how it got started.
What was it like meeting her in person?
I still have not met her in person.
Still?
No, yeah.
So how do you do the fitting?
We do it through the store. I would send the clothes to the store and they would give me comments based on their fitting. It's a very private relationship between them. Yeah.
Wow. What is the selling point of Cocoon brand?
I think that it's a brand that has an inherent feminine quality. I think it's a quality that every woman wants to have. What I do is I express it through silhouettes and cuts that are flattering but not restrictive. I do things that are quite artistic but done in a very easy and wearable way and a feminine expression of it. So it's not edgy, it's not ultra sexy, it's just it's a brand that is a personal expression of femininity, I would say. I think that in this age, to be a designer is not enough to just be a person that designs. You have to really be a communicator and you have to really be a business person and you have to be a marketer as well.
You are very passionate about what you do. I can feel it even sitting from here. How do you keep yourself going? Do you ever get tired?
I get tired a lot, but I think that it's curiosity. I think that you have to constantly be curious about new things. Otherwise, everything becomes complacent and becomes very normal. Especially in fashion, things have to change because things become normal very quickly or things become very mainstream very quickly. So what you have to do is you have to reset your clock and you have to empty out your brain and you have to go into a creative mode and fill it up again with ideas and energy. And so you get tired, but you get inspired again. And it's a cycle. And I think that's what life is as well. I think that fashion is an expression of life and living.
Venerable, why did you become a nun?
Well, I became a nun because I love the Dharma. I found that Buddhism was so useful for me. Even I grew up as a normal American girl, but I found that people have so many problems and they didn't know what to do. And when I read about Buddhism, I thought, oh, this is fantastic. It shows us a way to live a happy life.
How did you find Buddhism? In a bookshop?
No, actually, because my family name was Zen. Z-E-N-N.
Your last name?
Yes, my last name. And it's spelled Z-E-N-N. It's a misspelling of a German name. But because I had that name, people would ask me if I'm a Zen Buddhist. Then I asked the question, what is it? And I went to the library and found 2 books on Buddhism. This was in the 1950s, before Buddhism became popular. And I read those books from cover to cover and thought, wow, that's for me. And I loved it.
How old were you?
11.
11.
Yeah.
And you read it and you understood?
It made perfect sense to me.
Wow.
It made perfect sense. And so from there, I carried on, trying to learn more and more. But it was very difficult in those early years because there wasn't much information about Buddhism. There were no temples, there were no teachers, there were very few books. So I had to struggle a lot. My search was a long one. It took me 13 years to get to the monastery.
What is Buddhism to you?
Buddhism is the path to liberation, a path to awakening, a path out of suffering, a way out of entanglements. All of these desires and attachments that come with worldly life weigh us down, make us confused, and also waste a lot of time. When we follow the path of Dharma, it opens up our heart. We get rid of the entanglements one by one. We become freed from all of those worldly concerns. And one by one, not all at once, of course, but one by one, the worldly entanglements fall away. That's the beauty of Buddhism. We learn for ourselves, right? Check it out. Come and see, the Buddha said. So we learn the teachings and then we test them out in everyday life. That's what I did. And the more I tested it, the more I found it worked for me. Buddhism that made me really happy.
How is Buddhism different from other religions?
Buddhism teaches us individual responsibility. We don't just abdicate our responsibility to some savior figure.
To the Buddha?
Not really. The Buddha taught the path, but the Buddha can't take away our sufferings just like that, right? The Buddha taught us how to resolve our own sufferings. It's more difficult, but it's more reasonable, it's more sensible, it's more practical, right? So there are religions that promise happiness in the future, but Buddhism actually teaches us how to be happier people now. And also how to get along with people of other traditions, right? It doesn't say we're the best, we're right, you're wrong. No. Buddhism respects all religious traditions. And so it actually has the tools for developing healthier, happier communities.